Hey everybody, Rich Munroe here with B&B Investing Group. Thanks for jumping on this week. As usual, B&B Investing Group helps investors navigate with short-term rentals, whether you're doing acquisitions, managing, or the rental arbitrage model. And so I'm pretty excited this week. I'm going to be doing a in-depth kind of analysis on a property example, which is kind of a new trend, or a recent trend that's popular, but makes perfect sense when you're trying to maximize revenue for your property. Basically, there's multiple ways. Obviously, there's an obvious advantage of doing short-term rentals over long-term rentals. As it already stands, you're already going to be generating 2 to 3 times the revenue over a long-term rental. And so, what I'd really like to kind of dig into here is, how do you optimize your revenue when you're just kind of looking at a clean slate, right? We had a clean slate, which as investors, a lot of times we do, in terms of what is our starting point, what kind of property we're going to go after, what location are we going to invest in, and I'm really trying to look at it from that perspective, right? So if you've got a clean slate and, kind of a starting point that's flexible, what's the best way for you to invest in properties to maximize your revenue with short-term rentals? And so what I'm going to focus on is a property that we have one of our clients currently that's recently acquired. And I'm going to show you kind of how the property looked at the time they acquired it compared to some of the improvements that they are in the process of doing, basically to maximize potential with the ability to do short-term rentals and kind of get the most that you can out of that property. So for those of you jumping on, if you could give me a quick thumbs up or send me an okay in the comments, just want to make sure you can hear me okay. And then we're going to kind of dig into it. And so, the property that we're looking at is an investment property that was acquired back in March. And basically, this is in Georgia. And so this is in a city called Ackworth, which is about 45 minutes north of the Atlanta metro area. And basically is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath on the main level, and it has a separate basement apartment with a 2-bedroom, 1-bath as a separate basement apartment. And so essentially, we're looking at the ability to kind of maximize revenue, and even though this property was already kind of move-in ready, you could technically go live with it already. We basically have done some additional enhancements to kind of make sure that, we can kind of get the biggest potential and the biggest lift. And so on purpose, we kind of looked for properties that would basically have that ability, to essentially have a separate entrance. And so this property basically has the main level where we have 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. And then on the bottom level, we have 2 baths, 2 bedrooms and 1 bedroom and 1 bath. And so it's got essentially 2 separate areas with separate entrances that are basically ideal for the ability to do 2 separate listings. And so once we have purchased the property, I'm going to kind of give you a quick walkthrough on what the property looked like at the time of acquisition. And then we're also going to look at some improvements. And so this property was already fully remodeled, updated bathrooms, updated kitchens, new paint, light fixtures throughout. We basically did some massive improvements on the landscaping. This was a gravel driveway, and so we had basically a driveway a brand new driveway and landscaping put in. So let me kind of walk you through gradually here what this thing looked like at the time of acquisition. Let's see if I can pull up a video here and basically show you and give you some pointers really on what are those things to add to your property in your design stages to really focus on maximizing that short-term rental revenue, differentiating you from the other listings, making sure that you can gain a 20 to 30% premium over what the regular market rate is for those properties. So just waiting for this video to upload here. Should be ready in just a second. And the other thing that's good about this property, and it's always good when you're looking for acquisitions for short-term rentals, you don't necessarily have to be walkable to restaurants or bars or anything like that. But this particular property is located near the main street or kind of the main town center. And it is also several blocks away from a lake with a beach, a park, and kind of a play area for the kids. And so it's always good to have some walkable amenities in line when you're doing your acquisitions as a part of your strategy. So let's see here. Let me flip back over for just a second. And again, I want to show you guys, piece by piece, what you should be looking at doing as far as improvements in the property. And so this purchase price was right around $535 at the time of acquisition. And essentially, that basically is going to run with your debt service around $3,000 a month in monthly debt service. So your monthly costs without utilities and other expenses on this project are going to be around $3,000 a month. So keep that in mind as we kind of dig into what the revenue numbers are potentially going to look like. So here are basically going to kind of walk through some before pictures so you guys can see. The other main thing I wanted to talk about too. So this property that's interesting and just to kind of show you, there's also a 2-car garage at the back of this property that essentially we are in the process of converting over to a kind of an additional in-law suite. And so essentially creates a third opportunity for us to kind of have a listing and be able essentially to do that, right? And so let me show you guys a quick picture of that. So that's the 2-car garage that's off, at the end of the driveway. At acquisition, basically, this was just a regular 2-car garage, and so one of the abilities to maximize. So now we can convert this 2-car garage basically into a master suite, in-law suite. It'll have its own separate kitchenette area and bedroom, and we'll basically essentially give you a third opportunity to generate revenue on this property. And so what we're going to do is, and sorry for the delay here, but I'm kind of waiting. I want to show you kind of what this thing looked like before we even started any construction, right? And so what I'm going to do is walk you through. I'm going to basically play a video that essentially was done at the time that we purchased the property. Okay, and so This going to, so this gives you a better shot basically of the house. You've got the main level, you've got the bottom level, you've got the garage in the back. As you can tell, when we purchased the property, you're going to see pretty soon here, it's been fully updated. Right, so at a $535 purchase price, this is basically ready to rock and roll. Basically, this would be a very competitive short-term rental, just as it is, as you can tell. And, obviously updated finishes. This is going to be the main thing you want to do when you look at an investment, is making sure that your property is as modern as possible. And essentially, you're going to be able to command a premium on your nightly rate as a result of that, right? And so all great finishes. Basically, there's a big backyard here, and I'm going to show you how we're repurposing that as well. And the very small deck in the back. And then here's the basement apartment. And so again, this is it's got its own full kitchen down here, separate entrance, living room area, 2 separate bedrooms. So obviously with this 2-bedroom, you're going to be able to sleep 4 people down there as its own listing. You've also got a washer and dryer, independent. And so essentially that's the house as is. Now I'm going to show you kind of what we did as improvements, basically. And again, you can do this with any property, again, with the intent here of maximizing, obviously your revenue to be able to gain traction and have that option essentially to charge more. And so the first few things that we did basically is we did a huge improvement to the outdoor landscaping, right? And so we put in a brand new driveway, put in kind of a more structured method in getting in and out of the second lower apartment, so it have its own dedicated path to get to. We can also have separate parking. As you can tell, this is no longer a paved driveway now. And so that's another kind of big thing that we did. And essentially kind of give you a little better sense for the improvements, right? So totally redid landscaping in the front. What we also did was so that the lower level basement would have its own outdoor space. We have a deck that we built over here on the left-hand side of the house. It'll have its own coded lock for access that lower level will have access to. We've got an outdoor shower over here. There, like I mentioned, there is a lake a few blocks away. And so obviously with the lights here at night, it's going to make a great listing picture as well. The other thing in the driveway here, in these paths, these will light up at night as well. And again, always want to be thinking about that listing picture, as you're doing it. Here's a quick walkthrough of the basement apartment, just to kind of see the finished product. Obviously, electronic locks. We kind of put the supplies and everything in these closets over here to the right. So that's how the cleaners will access for supplies. And so fully up and running with everything we need to go live. And, this, again, like I mentioned, the interior of this property was pretty much ready. Most of the improvements we made here are going to be on the exterior of this home, again, to kind of with the mindset of maximizing revenue. So I'll show you what we've also done with the side garage, essentially being able to convert that, like I mentioned, right, into a its own standalone unit. Okay, so this is going to be kind of the main living room area and kitchenette combination, and then back here will be the bedroom with its own TV, and then you've got your master bathroom set up here, full bathroom, and then your washer and dryer connections as well. And so that allows you to essentially be able to kind of convert that over. So now, instead of even though we had 2 separate units here when we purchased it, now we have 3. And so essentially our rental revenue will have a combination of all 3 of those listings. And so, let's take a quick look at what those numbers look like. Essentially, on the, let me see if I can get a good shot of this so we can pull it up so everybody can see. And so this is a typical 12-month forecast that I will do on investment properties. So this is going to show you what it looks like on the 2-bedroom, right? And so on the 2-bedroom, we have basically a 12-month forecast with the nightly rental revenue and the occupancy levels. And so let me see if I can find it here. So given the location, and again, even though we're quite a bit a ways from Atlanta, the demand in this area is still pretty high because of a couple different things. You've got the lake. You've also got a baseball complex that's not too far away. That is essentially has a lot of people that are coming in for baseball tournaments and other kinds of sporting events. Let's see here. All right. I had a little technical difficulties. I think I've got those figured out. So let me show you guys what the numbers look like. All right. So again, this is like a 12-month forecast. Let me see if I can zoom in on it and get a little bit better look at it here. So on your 2-bedroom, 1 bath, your nightly average revenue is going to be around your average nightly rate is going to be around 114. Your occupancy level is going to be around 60%. I usually, okay, so let me just make sure I'm looking at the right one here. So I usually do a conservative estimate with these 12-month forecasts on purpose, because like I mentioned, our objective is to kind of command a 20 to 30% premium over the average market rates. So you're looking at about a $30,000 annualized net income after your expenses. It's actually, so that's if you use a management company, so we also manage for other investors. And so If you self-manage, which is another option, we typically recommend our clients that are in the program basically to self-manage, because you're going to save, like just on that one listing, you're going to make $8,000 more for the year, just by way of example, right? So you're now you're going to net after your expenses right around $37,000 just on the 2-bedroom alone for the year. So if we also look at the 1-bedroom, let's see here. So the 1-bedroom is going to give you basically about, let's call it 22,000 for the year. So you got, so far you're at 37 plus 20. So you're at around 64,000 for the year in revenue. The 3-bedroom that's on the main level that we haven't really touched on yet from a revenue perspective, that's also going to generate around 40,000 a month. So you're right all in right now at 104,000 a month in revenue, and that's going to give you about close to 9,000 a month. Okay, so 9,000 a month on after your utilities and expenses, you're going to be around 3,500 as a cost. And so on this one property, again, if you self-manage, you're going to be around 5,500 a month in net monthly cash flow. So that's 5,500. Now, we've invested probably an additional 90,000 in the landscaping and converting that garage over to a in-law suite. The other improvements that we are currently working on to finish this project is we are putting a large deck in the back. If you remember those listing pictures in the beginning, it was just kind of a big open bare backyard. So we basically put a deck all the way covering the entire backyard, and we're doing a jacuzzi tub, hot tub, and an ice bath deal. So a lot of those amenities are going to kind of do nothing but add more premium to your revenue. And so it also differentiates your listing. So now we have 3 different listings generating, around 5,500 a month in revenue after your expenses. And you've got, besides the acquisition, you put about another 90,000 into it. And so had you not put that other 90,000 into it, you really would not be able to command that 20% above what the market is doing. And so when you add those additional amenities, the landscaping, the outdoor space improvements, these are things that, on any rehab project as an investor, you can kind of factor in on your short-term rental investments to kind of maximize your revenue. And so essentially, the objective here is, again, like I started to talk about, if you've got a clean slate you're working with, find properties that have the ability, either already as is with separate entrances. Typically, it could even be, duplex or triplex, but these typically work a little bit better when you've got a basement separate entrance. You can do an ADU or convert a garage like we did on this one, to basically maximize your different revenues on your different listings. Now, so that's 3 different listings. Ultimately, you can also, as an option, have a 4th listing, which basically will encompass all 3 listings as a larger listing, right? And so there's a way to do that and be able to still, attract larger audiences. So now, people that are traveling in larger groups, for weddings and other events, may be interested in being all in the same location, and to have the ability to sleep that many people. And so you can also have a 4th listing that would accommodate much larger groups and basically have them book the entire property as one booking, as another option as well. This way you kind of maximize your different revenue options for the property. Feel free to throw some questions over in the comments. I know we've got a couple already. I'm going to kind of go through them now. Let's see here. So we have, and some of this I might have already covered. Maybe I haven't. So Cost was asking, will there be enough parking for all after converting the garage? Yeah. So ultimately, in the short-term rental model, it's less important about covered parking, honestly. So essentially, if your average stay is 3 to 5 days, there's less of a concern for you to be able to accommodate covered parking. Now, obviously, parking is important. Other than that, but this particular property has enough room in that driveway, especially after we concreted everything. It could basically hold up to 8 to 9 cars comfortably. We will also have designated signs so that the basement unit knows where their assigned parking is compared to the main level, as well as the back unit. And so you're going to get a much bigger bang for your buck by converting that garage space over to an actual unit instead of having it available for people to use as parking. Obviously, on a longer term guest, that's more important and more of a critical item. On occasion, we do get requests from people, typically on some of our properties that have, car enthusiasts that are coming in town for car shows and things like that. So we do have, on a rare occurrence, people that are asking for covered parking if they've got, a special vehicle or expensive vehicle as well. So, but that very rarely happens. So I would be less concerned about that, more concerned about maximizing revenue to do that. Let's see here. Sorry if this is on the sheet, I couldn't read it well. What's your expected occupancy rate? Yeah. So, and I realize that the sheet is hard to view on the screen. We looked at at the market rate doing on the 2-bedroom, it's going to do about a 64% annualized occupancy rate. On the 1-bedroom, it's going to do about 59%. On the main level, the 3-bedroom will also kind of be in that 60% range. Now, that occupancy estimate, again, is based on what the market is doing. We will actually be doing probably, like I mentioned, about 20% higher than that occupancy level, as well as the nightly rates. And so to go over the nightly rates again, on the 1-bedroom, it's going to average about $114 a night. On the 2-bedroom, we're going to do about 176. And then on the 3-bedroom, it'll be around 210, 220 in that range as an average nightly rate. And then, once we have all these additional amenities available, essentially we're going to be able to improve on that nightly rate as well. And so hope that answered the question for that. Let's see here. Do you have to check with city or county about the conversion? Yeah, absolutely. So that was one of the, if you notice, we're here in August. This property was acquired in March. Yeah, so a big part of that delay is because of the permitting process. So all the work that was done, the driveway, even the stuff in the backyard, getting that garage converted, is a delayed process. In this particular example with the city of Ackworth for permitting, we are also doing the this particular city has a short-term rental ordinance requirement, so we have to apply for a license for the short-term rental to be up and running. And so essentially that is a part of the process as well. Now, what I strongly recommend, obviously, when you are when you start this process and you are defining your target area, you're figuring out your acquisition strategy, the location that you would like to buy your investment property. The very first thing you want to do is get a crystal clear understanding of the regulatory environment, not only what's required for short-term rentals, if any, but also for the permitting process, and factor that in terms of the improvements that you're going to be planning on doing before you go live with the listing. Because unfortunately, the permitting is still in a lot of different cities and counties taking really longer than it should. I guess that's the government at work, essentially. So yeah, so that is a part of the process that will delay you now. So just to kind of recap, it's a $535,000 purchase. We did an additional $90,000 to do the additional landscaping, adding of the decks, and the garage conversion. And so that additional $90,000, essentially, you're going to be able to recoup that additional investment, usually in the first 12 months of generating short-term rental revenue. And so what we've done is we've taken a regular property, converted it into 3 separate listings, 3 separate entrances, and basically be able to maximize revenue on that particular property. And so this is something that you can definitely look for in your city, in your target market. A great starting point is obviously in the markets, because I know Florida doesn't have a lot of basements, but Florida does have a lot of triplex and duplex opportunities that you can kind of multi-purpose as well. You can also do the ADU and tiny house model as an alternative to kind of add additional options for listings. So I hope this helps. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I'm happy to provide more details and kind of if you have any more questions other than what I covered today, feel free to reach out directly to me on Facebook Messenger and we can set up a time to touch base. Would love to hear about what you're doing strategically in your area, what you're kind of going after for investments, and happy to see how B&B Investing might be able to help with that process. So thanks everybody for checking us out. We'll see you again next week. And until then, happy hunting. I know a lot of us are currently looking for investments, and whether we're looking for rental arbitrage or acquisitions, there's opportunities out there. We've got a lot of our students that are adding on units this month and are continuing to grow. And so happy to help out if you guys want to reach out and schedule a call and we can touch base and see what you're up to. So thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you again next week. Take care.